What is happening, my peeps? I am here with the man, the myth, and the legend, the one and only Dr. Dharius Daniels, and we are going to be talking about an event we've got coming up on October 20th and 21st.
That's right.
In Atlanta, Georgia at Change Church. It's not a church event, it's a change event, and it's going to be off the charts. Dr. Dharius, glad to have you here, my brother.
It's an honor, man. I'm excited. Tag team back again.
Oh, it's going to be a thing, bro. It's going to be a thing. Yeah, and I'm not just excited about doing an event with you that's a marketplace event that's going to impact people's lives in a great way, but I'm really, really looking forward to what we're going to be teaching people at the Thrive event.
Yeah, 100%. Something that I feel like has changed both of our lives, right? Something that has, well, for me at least, it's changed my world. And is helping me contribute to changing other people's worlds also. You know, the event's called Thrive.
The event's called Thrive.
And I believe there's three ways you can live your life: sinking, surviving, or thriving. And thriving is the only one you can, in order to achieve thriving, that requires intentionality.
1,000%. Now, you're trying to get me started before I get started. That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I believe that the number one difference between people who are uber successful and people who live their life on the struggle bus is people who live their life on the struggle bus focus on distraction and ignore intention.
Yes.
People who thrive focus on intention and ignore distraction.
100%.
In fact, people who thrive are so confused by why anybody would give attention to distraction. Why would you even pay attention? Why would you even care about something that does not impact your life?
100%. I heard it said this way. Somebody said, focus is the superpower of the successful. Because focus really, it's like selective attention. 1,000%. And so when you're focusing on something, you're really making a decision regarding what you're not
focusing on,
going to look at, you know? So like, I remember last time I went to the optometrist, they put your head in the machine, and you see this image with all of these lines of letters, right? So maybe 4 lines. But the optometrist may say, hey, focus on line 3. At the very same time she's telling me to look at something, line 3, she's telling me not to look at line 1, 2, and 4. And so that's the key, I think. That's really the key to success, is knowing what not to look at.
That's so interesting. I think people are so distracted by things that don't matter that they don't pay any attention whatsoever to things that do. They're so distracted by what doesn't work that they can't even pay attention to what does work.
Yeah.
They're so distracted by all of the pain in their life that they ignore all the pleasure in their life. People go through life so focused on pennies that they step over $100 bills.
See, this is why I like doing this. This is going to be hard because I'm supposed to be a contributor, but then I'm the student. I want to write that down.
I think we have a mutual admiration society, bro.
But no, it's so key. And I think when we're talking about intention and intentionality, like when it comes to this idea of thriving, one of the things that we're going to be talking about at the event is what we need to be intentional about. You know?
Come on,
because you don't change your life by changing your life. You change your life by changing the things that change your life.
Ooh, I saw what you did there. I saw what you did.
So it's like, I need to change my life. That's overwhelming. That's dubious. That's ambiguous. It's like, what do you mean by that? But if I change the things that change my life, I change my life. So
1,000.
I don't thrive by
trying to thrive.
I thrive by doing the things that create a thriving life. And that requires some intentionality, and it requires, I think, some intentionality in key areas. All areas in your life are not equally impactful.
Come on here.
And we're going to be talking about one during Thrive. We're going all in on this.
We're going all in.
Because it's the one thing to change everything.
It changes everything. It's the one thing that is the thing of things. And I know they're probably wondering, well, are you going to tell us what it is? Eventually. We're going to tell you one of these. No, we're going to be sharing with y'all about the power of intentional communication. Communication is everything. As Tony Robbins said, the quality of your life in direct proportion to the quality of your communication. But communication or content, not just communication, but the content that you create.
Yes.
The content that you create creates the context of your life.
Yes. That's huge. You said something, you say more stuff on accident than I say on purpose, number one. You say such good stuff. Somebody even in the studio had to remind you of something that you said. That was one of the greatest things that I ever heard, but you forgot you said it. And I just want you to say it again, you know, because I want them to hear what I heard. Mm-hmm. And that is something, it's Genesis 1. Mm-hmm. People think content creation. Mm-hmm. I think people underemphasize how important it is. You said, according to Genesis 1, God is a content creator.
Well, God is first and foremost a content creator. Genesis 1:1 in English says, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. In Hebrew, it has a word in Hebrew that's not there in English because there's no English equivalent. Mm-hmm. In Hebrew it says, Bereshit bara Elohim et. I'm going to come back to et in a minute. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim va'eret. So et is in there twice. What is et? Et is the Aleph Tav. Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Tav is the last letter. So in the beginning, God created the Aleph Tav. And with the Aleph Tav, he created earth. So in the beginning, God created with the Aleph Tav heaven. And with the Aleph Tav, he created earth. Mm-hmm. So with the word. Aleph Tav are the letters of the alphabet with which we create words. Mm-hmm. Letters are the building blocks of words. Words are the building blocks of communication. Yeah. Communication is the building block of everything. That's why it says in John chapter 1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Everything that God, when God created everything out of nothing, he used content both as the tools and the building blocks to do it. He made us in his image. God created three categories in creation. He created creation, the stars, the moon, the sun, the trees, the grass, the water. He created creatures, the dogs, the chimpanzees, the alligators, and the giraffes. And he created creators, or if you like, creatives. That's man in his own image. The creatives that he created, the creators that he created, are the only thing that he created that he gave language to. Mm-hmm. He gave us the gift of content creation potential. Yes. Now we have to go do something with that potential.
That's right.
And when we do something with that potential, what we do with that content is going to determine the quality of our lives. Do not make the mistake of thinking that God needs content and you don't need it. Because if you think that, you are confused.
You can't thrive.
No, sir.
Without it.
No, not possible.
Yeah. And so and I think this is important too, Myron, because I think part of what this event does is it challenges people to revisit and some to even redefine their definition of success.
1,000.
Because if you are not proficient in this area that we're talking about, then it doesn't matter what compartment of your life you're seeing some success in. You're not experiencing success the way you could experience it.
1,000.
If you add this component, right?
1,000.
And I'll give a very practical example. I remember one time there was this, and I'm going to be very tactful here, but I remember one time there was this person that I knew who I knew of the person, didn't know, but they were releasing a book, right? And I saw them interviewing about the book because I knew of the person and I wanted to support them about the book. But the way they talked about the book, if I didn't know them, I don't know if I'd buy it. When I actually read the book, it was a really, really good book that helped me in some tremendous areas. But I would have missed out on something that impacted my life. Not because the book wasn't good. They didn't talk about it good. So,
go ahead.
So as successful, quote unquote, as they were,
it could have been many multiples more.
Exponentially, they could have reached more people, changed other people's world, could have made more resources, changed their world, if they understood the importance of improving this skill.
That's so fascinating that you say that. I remember, so one of the things when I used to be broke, I was broke as a joke. I mean, I was so poor. I was pitiful poor. People say, what's pitiful poor? That's when you're so poor. Poor people feel sorry for you. And I remember when I was poor, and I remember listening to personal development tapes. And one of the personal development tapes that I had, that I listened to in my car all the time, was by Jim Rohn. It was called The Day That Changes Your Life. And one of the things that Jim Rohn said that impacted my life in a great way, he said, you have to have something good to say, and you have to say it well. And so many people, first of all, they don't even have anything good to say because their mind is only full of lyrics of music, lyrics of songs, lines from movies, and stuff they've read in magazines.
Yeah.
They've not read a book since Shep was a pup.
Yeah.
They've not filled their mind with anything that can make their life better. And so they don't have anything good to say. And then we have a bunch of people who have a lot of good stuff to say. They're just so terrible at saying it. Yeah. They tear the message up so bad getting it out that they unfortunately conceal the greatness and the truth that they know because they're not good at communicating it.
Yeah, to me, it is, like I said, it's the one thing that changes everything because there's
1,000.
no area of your life that is not impacted directly or indirectly by this skill, whether it's your, you mentioned this earlier, your spiritual relationship, that's communication with God, your internal conversations that you have with you, your external conversations that you have with other people, and especially if you're doing any sort of knowledgepreneurship, that means that there's something in your head that can add value to other people and create a stream of income for you. The only way you can get it from here to their head and their heart is through communication.
Got to come out your mouth.
Yeah, and so all of the experiences that people have had, all of the education that they got, all of the insights that they got, all of the expertise that they got is of no value if they can't communicate
1,000
that value in an effective way.
And there are so many people who are watching right now who have something great in them, but either they don't know how to communicate it, because just because it's in you don't mean, just because you know something doesn't mean you know how to tell somebody else what that thing is.
That's right.
Just because you know how to do something doesn't mean you know how to teach somebody else how to do that thing.
Yeah.
Or they lack the confidence in who they are to put the message out into the world because they're too afraid of what they think other people will think about them, which is not the same as being afraid of what other people think about you.
Yes.
Because what you think they're going to think about you and what they're going to think about you are not necessarily the same thing. And so what they do, instead of putting their content out into the world for it to make the impact and the splash that it can make, they keep all of their content to themselves. And as Del Toro says, they take their greatness to the grave with them. And see, what we got to do, your ability to communicate your content is what's going to give you the ability, as Del Toro McNeil said in his book, to rob the grave of its greatness.
Yeah. And you know, something I think I'm really excited about, I'm excited about a lot with this, honestly. I'm excited about it.
It's going to change people's lives. Yeah. They don't even, it's going to change their lives so much when it's over, they're going to look in the mirror, they ain't even going to recognize themselves.
Yeah, this is going to be something significant. I'm just telling you. It's going to be
world changing.
And one of the things that I really appreciate about this event is this. There is there's a plethora of conversations about communication, but not a lot about how to create quality content
1,000%.
that you're actually going to communicate.
1,000%.
And so when you look at least what is happening in terms of the lives you're impacting and the lives I am impacting, it is largely because of this concept, this skill of content creation. And you and I were talking earlier, and one of the things that I was saying is there are time to time people may say something to me like, oh, you know, you're gifted. And to a degree, I appreciate that because everything we have is a gift from God.
1,000%.
But I think very often when people are saying that, they're letting themselves off the hook. Because what they're saying is, I got something they don't.
Right.
And they hadn't asked me what I did to get to where I am.
Come on now.
And it's like, you might think I got some juice you don't have, when the truth of the matter is, I'm just doing some stuff you hadn't done.
That part right there.
And I want them to be at Thrive so that I can share with them
1,000.
the things that I'm doing in private to get the results that you're seeing in public.
So good. So something you probably don't know about me, and my kids always make fun of me when I say this, but that's okay. That's what kids are for, to make fun of you, keep you humble, right? So I am a natural introvert. I operate as an extrovert.
Got it.
So I'm like naturally an introvert. But I think the same thing is probably true about you if I remember correctly.
Oh yes, I'm naturally an introvert, but I don't know. I don't know if I operate as an extrovert. I'm not even going that far. It's like I do what I gotta do.
Right,
you know?
right, that part. And if I'm in a space that's my space, and I'm responsible for the energy in that space, I can operate as an extrovert.
Yeah, that's right.
But if I go to somebody else's space, I am just as content sitting on the corner of the back row, learning as much as I can and keeping my mouth closed.
Yeah.
Like extroverts feel like most extroverts that I know, they think by talking, right? They think with their mouth.
Right.
And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, they have to verbalize to conceptualize.
Sure.
I can conceptualize without verbalizing.
That's right.
Right? And I'm just as happy to do so. And if I'm not in my space, I don't want to make a lot of noise. I don't want to bring a lot of attention to myself. That's not what I'm there for. I'm perfectly fine to be invisible at something that's not mine. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's what I mean when I say I operate. I'm an introvert, but I operate as an extrovert.
Sure.
Right? And somebody asks me something, I'm not going to hide what I know because I'm an introvert.
Sure.
Right? So I remember I was in the 6th grade, right here in Tampa, walking down the street with my dad. He came across a friend that he knew from his childhood. Her name was Mary. This was such a traumatic experience for me. I'm 12 years old.
Okay.
And I hated my name growing up. Hated it. All my brothers have, quote, normal names. Jeff, Mike, Dwayne, Derek, and Mark. And I'm Myron. That's how my name sounded to me when I was a kid. Myron. It didn't sound like Myron. It sounded like Myron, right? Okay. And my dad said, son, this is my friend Mary. We grew up together. Mary, this is my son. And then like only a proud father could, he stuck his chest out. He said, son, tell Mary your name. Now my dad loves my name, Myron Freddie Golden. I hated all of it except the Golden. Hated it. And I looked at my dad and thought, you just told me her name. Couldn't you just tell her my name?
Right.
First of all, I didn't like talking to strangers.
Yeah.
Second of all, if I had to talk to strangers, the last thing in the world I want to talk to them about is my name that I hate.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at Mary, and I remember looking at my dad, and I just said, I just broke down and started crying. My dad said, boy, what's the matter with you? I mean, I lost it. Because I didn't feel like there was anything in me that was worth showing to anybody out there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, they feel like, yeah, I did okay in this arena, but I'm not good enough to put on YouTube. Yeah, I know how to cook, but I'm not good enough to put on a podcast. Yeah, I know how to write poetry, but I wouldn't want to put it out there. Somebody might not like it. And what we have to do is we have to get over ourselves and get to the point in our lives where we're okay with the idea that somebody might not be okay with what we say.
Wow. Wow. That's a thing.
That is a thing.
That's a thing.
Like, I've had people on my YouTube channel, I've had people call me a prosperity gospel preacher. I've had them call me a false prophet. I've had them call me the Antichrist. Or my name, like when it starts out, this guy, I already know this guy don't even have a name, this guy, right? And then they want to leave a commentlopedia.
Yes, right.
Teaching people why I'm wrong on my channel.
Right.
And then I go look at their channel to watch their videos so I can correct where I'm wrong, and they ain't got no videos on it. So anyway, my point is, stop worrying about what you think other people think about you.
It's always the people that aren't doing it.
Come here.
That are telling the people who
are doing it
the way they should be doing it.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah.
That part. Philippians chapter 2 says, let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who, being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God. You know what that means? He knew who he was.
That's right.
Then it says, but he made himself of no reputation.
That's right.
Guess what? He didn't need you to know who he was in order for him to know who he was.
Good.
And until you get to the place where you know who you are and you don't need somebody else to know who you are, you ain't free.
100%. And I think what you just identified is a barrier, and we're gonna help people identify
a whole bunch of barriers.
A whole bunch of barriers that are actually getting in the way of them not just communicating content, but actually creating content. Because if you are thinking about what other people are thinking about you, you can't be thinking about what you're supposed to create.
That part.
So you're wasting
and the
mental real estate.
transformation that what you create will produce in their lives. You're too busy thinking about you.
100%.
And when I'm creating content and when I'm communicating content, the last person I need to be thinking about is me.
Yep, absolutely. I just think, go ahead.
You're a pastor. I don't know if you've ever had that. I used to be a senior pastor at a church. I had guys in my church who had been to seminary. When I first went there, that was so intimidating to me.
Okay.
Because I didn't go to seminary.
Right.
I just been studying the Bible. These guys been to seminary, I don't want to say that. And you know what I realized? Wait a minute. If their seminary taught them that much, they be the pastor. I need to just go ahead and teach people what God showed me and let the chips fall where they may.
That's right.
So
that's right. That is also a thing. Like, in terms of people's ability to create and to communicate the content. Very often, they are assuming that being credible,
whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that means,
right?
That being credible or being qualified looks
certified
a certain way. Yeah, looks a certain way.
Right.
When the truth of the matter is that they've got some experiences, they've got some insight, and they got some expertise that they've gotten not from a university.
Come on
from
now.
the school of hard knocks.
Come here.
They got it experientially.
Come here.
That they can give to others. I put it this way. I feel like you have a moral obligation to help some people go to the school you went to, life school, without having to pay tuition.
Come on, bruh.
I already paid. I learned the lessons. I made the mistakes. I lost the time. I lost the money. I had the heartbreak.
Come here.
Now what I want to do is I want to share that with you so that you don't have to pay that same price to learn what I learned. You can get the learning, but I paid the price of tuition. And I feel like this is what so many people should be doing, or Myron, what some people who are already doing it, and they also need to come to Thrive, who are called to do it at a higher level.
1,000%.
I'm creating content. Okay, who are you reaching?
That part.
How many are you reaching? How broad is your reach? And this is not just about people who are starting. This is about people who are trying to scale their influence and their impact and their income by reaching more people and by reaching a broader audience through various platforms.
1,000. It's so fascinating. Content is good for everybody. Like, people say, all I know how to do is cook. You can't make any money cooking. Well, you can if you turn cooking into content like Rachel Ray did.
Facts. Make way more money.
Way more money. All I know how to do is keep house, and I know how to sew, and I know how to cook, and I know how to keep my house clean, I know how to decorate. You can't make no money doing that unless you turn the camera on like Martha Stewart did, right? See, what people don't realize, you can turn your life into content. Your life is already content. All you have to do is let the content show up so it can show out for you. If somebody would have told me, bro, I'm sorry, Dr. Bro. If somebody would have told me when I first started becoming intentional on YouTube, a little over a year ago, April 1st, 2022, I started doing a video a week, then 2 videos a week. If somebody would have told me, a year and a half from now, you're gonna have almost 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. I said, what are you talking about? There's no universe in which that can happen.
Yeah.
Our reach is so much bigger than I could have conceptualized. It doesn't matter if you own a car dealership, if you own an insurance agency, if you have a restaurant, if you're pastoring a church, if you run a charter school. Turn the camera on, create some content, and let content do for you what only content can do for you.
That is strong. And we were talking about this earlier. I want to go back to your YouTube piece.
Okay.
Because one of the things that we were talking about earlier is this. It was like all of this value is on the inside of your head.
Right.
And all of these people, myself included, would be hard-pressed to get it if you hadn't. The only thing you had to do was just do it. Like, take the step.
Turn the camera on, turn it into content.
But here's what people, I think, will assume. And this is a limiting belief that lets them off the hook.
Right.
They'll say, Myron's gifted, Myron's a genius. So that's why Myron's YouTube has blown up the way that it's blown up. When what they don't know is that, yes, Myron's gifted, Myron's a genius, but Myron has got coached by some of the best in the business on YouTube strategies. Myron has a very thorough YouTube strategy. Myron is working that YouTube strategy.
And I'm hyper intentional about it.
And Myron is leveraging that YouTube strategy to funnel people into other programs where he's able to change their life. And so it's like the Peter Jesus analogy. Peter saw Jesus walking in public, on water in public. He tried to emulate what Jesus did in public without asking Jesus what he did in private.
Come on here.
Jesus prayed in private. That's why he was able to walk on water in public.
1,000%.
And so you're able to do what you're doing on YouTube publicly because of what's happening privately.
1,000%.
And those are things that you've learned, that you know, that people need to know, and that we're going to be able to help teach some of them.
Oh, 100%. It's so interesting. Even King Solomon, the wisest, wealthiest man who's ever lived, he was so wealthy, if he were alive today with the wealth he had back then, he would be an individual. He'd be the only individual on earth that would be worth multiple trillions of dollars. Mm-hmm. Now, a million is 1,000,000.
Yes.
A billion is 1,000 million. A trillion is 1,000 billion, and he would be worth multiple trillions.
Yes.
And one of the very first things Solomon did after God gave him wisdom was he started creating and communicating content. Here's what it says. Solomon wrote 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. And then he talked about the trees that sprung out of the wall, and he talked about four-footed beasts and creeping things. Solomon created content that wasn't everyday content around everyday things. And when he did that, people found out, this dude knows some stuff. Mm. If it were today, it would read something like this. Solomon created 3,000 Instagram posts, 3,000 threads, 3,000 tweets, 1,000 YouTube videos. And see, we got 6 YouTube videos, 200 posts on Instagram, and we wonder why the world ain't beating the path to our door.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I was me before I started YouTube.
That's right.
I was creating the content, but I wasn't communicating and disseminating the content until I got on a platform that could multiply exponentially the impact of the work that I had done in secret, and now it could make it show up in the light.
100%. You know, Myron, I really feel like what you're talking about, and I know this is like cliche, but this is the next level for some people.
Oh,
like
1,000%.
Yeah, like this is the key that unlocks the door to the next level. It's like some people are really good at doing a thing. They're not really good at creating content around it. They're not really good at talking about it. And when they do that, they're not just gonna be able to impact people greater with the words that they're saying. They're gonna be able to impact people greater with whatever it is that they're doing and specializing in, because their words are gonna draw more people to what they need.
Mm-hmm. There are thousands of churches that are 1/10 the size they could be, impacting 1/10 the lives of in their community that they could be impacting because they're not putting their content on YouTube. And they're putting it on YouTube and they're not putting it on YouTube the right way. So I'm gonna tell y'all this. So I'm gonna talk to the pastors for a minute. One thing that you can do that will impact your community and reach more people in your community with your church, when you broadcast your church service on YouTube, don't stream the music. Only stream the message. I know the music it's great live. It does not translate on YouTube. The message, translate that. The title, put that on the thumbnail. Do not broadcast your church music service on YouTube. YouTube is not a music platform. It can't even transfer the energy of your song service onto YouTube like it can the value and the quality of your message. It'll multiply your message, but your music program on YouTube will muddy the water and make people not watch the sermon in the first place.
Yeah, you've got to really, on the technology side and the audio engineering side, it's got to be
it's got to be on a level.
The expertise there has got to be really, really high for that to translate over well. We're in a season where we're able to kind of acquire the people and the expertise to kind of help us in that area.
But you have a, well, I don't know how many people you got on your team, but you got a whole bunch of people. I've been to your complex, and you got some stuff going. You got some people doing some stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's so
If you sell insurance, start putting out YouTube videos on financial literacy. If you sell cars, teach people how to buy cars without getting taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Turn everything into content that serves people. If you want to be great in any arena of your life,
So good.
figure out how to create content that serves the largest number of people in the shortest possible period of time, and you will be the GOAT, even if you're not good.
Yeah. Man, listen, I can't. We hosting the conference, and I'm ready to go.
Me too, bro. Me too. I'm like, this gonna be off the charts.
Yeah, it is.
It's gonna be another level.
It is. And I really think it's going to help people thrive. Like, this is the one thing that can literally change everything in a person's life.
I was listening to a rabbi. I like to study Hebrew culture because the Bible is a Hebrew-oriented book. It's like originated book. I heard a rabbi say there are exactly 92 individual non-alloy elements on the periodic table of elements. Okay?
Okay.
In Genesis chapter 1, God used exactly 92 unique Hebrew words to create everything out of nothing. That's the power of content.
What more needs to be said? You got to register.
So, Doc, give us the details, because this event's about to sell out. So give us the details of where folks can go to register for the Thrive event, and they better do it quick, because if they don't, heaven help them.
All right, so they can go to Thrive 23, the word Thrive, the number 23.live, and they can register there. Now, I'm advising people to get into VIP. VIP is literally almost sold out. And so, but if you can't get in VIP, get in the room. It's going to be 2 days
Of this.
of this right here. It's me and Myron. That is it. And we're unloading everything that we can in 2 days. And so each day starts at 9 a.m. and we're going to download and unload all day Friday, all day Saturday, so that when you leave, we want you to have a headache.
Come on now. Come on now.
From the information and transformation that you receive. So Thrive23.live and register today. Seats are going to be sold out soon. We hope to see you there.
Register. There's going to be a link in the description of this video. Get yourself a ticket. It's almost sold out. We only have room for 1,200 and something.
Yep.
And already over 1,000 tickets sold.
So we got like a couple hundred more seats.
Like, literally, I'd be shocked. I'll be shocked within an hour of this video releasing if it's not sold out. Because there are a lot of people who did not even know Thrive was an event coming up next week.
100%.
Right? So it's about to be on and popping. Like, miss your own birthday party if you have to. Miss your wedding reception, but don't miss Thrive.
Yep. It's going to be great. Look forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too, Doc. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you.